Yo, it's Kevin Trades. It's my weekly recap and outlook for DAX, the German index. So let's just get straight into it. As you can see, this is the weekly candle. It's a bearish week. It opened at 24,379.8 and closed at 24,245.5. If we go on to the daily, we had bearish, 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 doji, bearish, bullish. Now, if we go and look over to the news, no news on Monday, no news on Wednesday, no news on Friday. On Tuesday, we had core retail sales at 1:30 p.m. And at 3 p.m. Fed Chairman Walsh testifying, and then Thursday PMI German flash services at 8:30 a.m. So not a lot of news this week, but yeah, Trump's still yapping. You can see here, yada yada yada. But decent week. I mean, the way I'm viewing this week is just a rebalance. So I did say I wanted buys off of here, and I did want this gap to get filled. If you go into the forward, you can see exactly what happened this week. We literally just gapped down, swept out all of this low resistance liquidity, and accumulated barcode here and barcode here. You know, not the best price action if you're just looking on the forward. There's like this fair value gap that got respected, and that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. But there was still some good lower time frame trades if we get into it. So yeah, Monday we would have gapped down another cheeky 200 points or so, and you would have woken up, you would have seen this huge pump up, you would have marked out order blocks, so sweep this low break above this high. I think that's low of the day off of this order block, which is in OTE region off of this little dealing range here. Literally just OTE off of an order block, and I think it's a 15-minute as well. But this is a sweep, gotta confirm. Yes, it is. Sweep this lower break above this high. You would draw it from here as well, the nearest breaker structure. You can see how we react off of these perfectly. And then we have this 15-minute inverse here as well. But if you're actually talking like, again, lower time frame, this is the 8 a.m. open, we dump down, fair value gap, fair value gap. This one gets respected, and then we just accumulate. Low of the day got placed in at around 9:20. And yeah, 10 a.m. opens, resweeps the low, and then from there you could have caught a nice trade, but we just accumulated until like New York session, which was here. Pumps up, sweeps this high, comes back down, and this is not even news either. This is just like probably like a tweet. Comes down, taps this order block, taps the middle of the 15-minute inverse, and again, like I said, OTE region 786. That would have been a good limit. OTE on this 5-minute order block or 15. Again, beautiful. Is there anything else? Not really. But again, this doesn't really run much. So you could have caught a few hundred points, like 200 points. The gap didn't get filled completely. So if you draw out from this order block, that was Monday. We have another order block here. Why? Because we swept this high and then broke below this low, and then two lows we broke below. Not only did we sweep this high, I'm pretty sure there's another high we swept, so this high here, so it makes it even better. We swept two highs. You can see, boom, sweep, sweep, break, order block, and then OTE region. And it's like 0.7 or 0.6 high of the week, 9:30. Not bad. Again, I actually got stopped out of this trade, and we can talk about that a bit. I don't really talk about my trades, but if we're looking 8 a.m., it was like here, we opened, swept this low, opened up, swept the high, tapped into the order block, give one initial retracement, and if we're drawing OTE from this 15-minute high, pretty sure it's just OTE, close enough, 786, again lines in with the order block, and that's high of the week, and that runs, I think, like one, so again, that is 500 points. It's not bad. Not bad at all, to be honest. It's just really bad price action. But I don't really believe in bad price action. It's just, it is what it is. It's just choppy. And that's Trump's fault. So if you're talking about how you record this, again, I got stopped out literally on high of the day. So why did I get stopped out? We can talk about it a bit. there was no fair value ups which got respected. So let's say this explosive move down, which kind of broke structure here. I don't like how these are yellow, but this move down, which we broke structure from, none of these fair value ups got respected. For example, here, expect this to be respected. Nope, disrespected. High the day placed in. Another big impulsive move down. This shows that sellers are starting to get in on the market. Again, broke structure, and then this fair value up does get respected, and that's high the day. So fair value ups tell you a lot. And then we tap OTE, like beautifully. May I add, high the day is placed in 940. If you come to the 1 minute, after this value is tapped into, we literally gap up, tap OTE, sweep out this low resistance liquidity on the 1 minute, high the day holds, and then finally we start respecting fair value ups on the way down. If I go back onto the 5 minute, best time frame I could say for lower time frame, you can see we had no top wick here at 11:10. This is the top wick of the 4 hour, which is here in OTE region again, 786 on the higher time frame dealing range. And then, okay, bears are gonna show this fair value up right here, which is in line with the order block again. Boom, fair value up respected. You'd get in, break a block here as well, around 12, and then boom, runs -4. 300 points, comes down, sweeps all of this low resistance liquidity. So you could have got in there, which is not bad. Again, bad timing, but New York session had a good opportunity. For example, 2:30, New York opens. We were very close to my buy level, but didn't hold, so I will just delete it, to be honest. We left behind 2 breaker blocks on the hourly, and then New York session 3 a.m. opens with no top wick, which is nice. This 4 hour was nice because we also rebalanced this one. So again, this is a rejection block, perfect rejection block here. If you want to look at that on the 5, perfect, and then fair value respected, and then dumps. So good, not bad trade, high of the week. Gap didn't get fully filled in though, but again, order block, OTE, double lows, dumps, New York session. If you go into the 30 minute, we left behind this 30 minute failure up, this 30 minute failure up. You'd wait for, obviously this got respected, you wait for 3 a.m. to open, sorry, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. opens, no top wick, we dump down, we have this inverse here. Inverse, taps into again, dumps, leaves behind this 5 minute fair value up, break structure, 5 minute failure up here, and then this runs down to the low resistance liquidity, 400 points. Again, that's Tuesday, not bad. Wednesday, we have a little retracement, so Tuesday retraces, starts to retrace as the day closes in, Asia session accumulates. As soon as 6 a.m. opens, like, yeah, what am I doing? There we go. Price starts to retrace into this forward fair value up, which we left behind on Tuesday, which had no top wick. We can mark it out. Nice little inspection. That this timing is very bad as well for like low of the week, 8:45. So this would have been a good draw. And then this high of the day is at 8:05 London session, and we also just taps into order block here. Boom. We also broke past a bunch of these lows. You can just see how we react off of it. Reacted off of this. London session opens, wicks up. 30 minute fair value up gets filled. Anything on the hourly? Not really. And then we just dump. But again, displacement down, break a block, fair value up, inverse, break a structure, fair value up, forward fair value up, target the low, 400 points. Again, not bad. We did have news on Tuesday. I didn't really talk about that. 3 p.m. That was a news candle where he was testifying. So it's a good draw, to be honest with you, which I'm going to put a green line right here. So yeah, that was pretty much Wednesday. New York session is here, choppy. Just respects fair value ups, to be honest with you. And then we dump this fair value up respected. 320 high, the 4-hour candle. I want to see how this looks right here. And then kind of rebalances the wick as well. And then we dump before the day ends. So not bad on Wednesday. It's just a fair value up respected after we break a low. So yeah, I want to mention high time frame. I'm low key bullish, so we were just this dealing range right here. Should I say ICT dealing range? Equilibrium here taps into 0.6. All of this low resistance liquidity swept out, and then the day closes. And we also had, so last week we had an all bullish week. This week we had almost all bearish. So I would consider this a doji, and I knew Friday would close bullish because we're not going to have a full bearish week after we had a full bullish week. That's just how it happens. So we can talk about Friday once we get there, but Thursday, London session where we are. There you go. Pretty bad. We had news on Thursday as well. So if we go over 8:30 news, which is here, price comes up, sweeps the highs, goes back down, resweeps the low at 6 p.m. This is just so atrocious price action, because why is it resweeping low, creating low the week at 6 p.m.? But not bad. If you're talking order blocks though, sweep this low, break above this high. We are just respecting this for our order block. Tapped it originally, tapped it again, and yeah, low of the week was just this for our inverse, which is nice because whenever we see a big push up on DAX, we usually get a retracement into for our inverse, which is below 0.5. So I'm viewing this week as a retracement, so I'm bullish. But considering what's going on over the weekends, I won't be surprised if we have another 200-point move down. So yeah, Friday, Thursday again, pretty bad. We just reset the whole of Thursday. Low of the day was at 4:30, so I knew low of the day wasn't placed in, and then it's just that. So yeah, for our failure gets full in completely, and that's low of the week, which is, I won't say as expected, but it happens quite a lot. And then Friday opens, we pump up. This opening on Friday proved to me that we're going to be bullish. As soon as I seen this, I was like, okay, we can get bullish candle. Comes up, resweeps the low, comes up again, resweeps the high. London session, sweeps this high, and then low that day gets placed in at 10:30, which is a good timing to be fair. These lows get swept. This is also good equilibrium, beautiful equilibrium. And then inverse is respected, and then fair value up respected. New York session here 2:30, taps back into the inverse, taps the fair value up, and then we have OTE from this low, which has no bottom wick. Taps the OTE at 3 p.m, which is this forward candle's bottom wick, and then we pump to this high. Boom, oops, boom, and then we accumulate and go up. So not a bad week. It was just choppy as heck. So we have a barcode here, barcode here, barcode here. So you can scan them in your free time whenever you're free. So yeah, as for next week though, I am looking for longs. I did have a draw here because of how dodgy this candle is. I don't want to hold this anymore. It's not a bad draw. We can keep it. It's like if we break below here, it's clean range, so we can keep it. So like I said, I just view this week as a retracement. So we swept obviously Friday all the way up to Tuesday. So we swept the whole of last week except for Monday. So Monday's holding, and then we're holding that. Again, that's fine. Next week, I want previous week high to get swept. These draws are all pretty close together, so I'm going to remove this one. And you can target all-time highs next week. Boom. Where do I want to buy from is the question. Honestly, I would like buys from anywhere around this for inverse 24,100, but also showing that around 24k buyers are getting in because these wicks show price come down, close up here, come down, close up here. So 24k 130 is fine for buys. These are my draws. If we close below Friday's or Thursday's low, sorry, if we break past Thursday's low, it's clean range. But for me, this push up looks healthy. Hopefully, we can just see all-time highs. If you look over to France, you can see we're pretty clean on France. I have draws here which never got hit. We edged them and we retraced. France is pretty disgusting, but France's move up was pretty nice. 1,000 point move up. So I would like this low to hold on DAX as well as these. But nice little rebalance last week. Hopefully we can tap around this level, 24,100, which is in line with the opening gap on Friday. So I'm happy with that. And I'm happy with my draws and all-time highs a draw as well. So yeah, next week I am looking for buys, primarily something like this, honestly. Like, I don't want it to go that high. So literally like this. Oops. Bing, bosh, bish. Something like that. And then Friday's high was at Tuesday's high is a good draw because that was Tuesday high of the week. So yeah, something like this next week. But yeah, that's the DAX recap. Keep it clean and simple. Pretty bad week, but nonetheless, you could have caught a few good trades. But yeah, next week I'm looking primarily for buys. Hopefully, price can trade a bit lower, around 24k, get a nice buy in and just hold till optimize. That's the DAX recap. Keep it clean and simple. See you next week. Here are my draws on levels.